but not to worry. The very best of the best I was referring in my earlier statements is here, and that's legal practitioner and CEO Gnosis Help Initiative, Barrister Olumide Kayode Omoshebi. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Hope.
Be rest assured, he's more than ready to dive into today's topic.
That introduction was caught me by surprise.
Yes. So, our topic for today on Relationship 360 is traits to avoid in a relationship. We're focusing on the malicious and the liar. I'll take that again. Traits to avoid in a relationship. We are focusing on the malicious and the liar. Lagos. These 2 hours will be worth your time. Don't go anywhere. Let's have you, Barrister.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Hope.
Good morning.
Good to see you again.
And you too.
Thank you once again, everybody, for joining us at 7 a.m. in the morning. It's not easy to wake up on Saturday mornings, so we appreciate. We have been talking about traits to avoid while dating. I have mentioned that there are 7 traits to avoid while dating. That means the moment you see any of these character traits, kindly discontinue the relationship. Number 1 is pride. Number 2 is jealousy. Number 3 is the liar. Number 4 is stingy partner. Number 5 is malicious. Number 6 is the jobless. Number 7 is the hot-tempered. So this morning I would like to discuss about the liar. Let us see what the liar is all about. First of all, the Oxford Dictionary describes the liar as a person who tells lies. A liar is a noun which makes you know that it is a person. Now, a lie means to make an untrue statement with the intention to deceive. The intention of every lie is to deceive. Now, know that the speaker of the lie intends to cause you to believe in something he knows is not true. The speaker knows it is false, but the intention is to make you believe what he knows to be false. I hope you got that. Now let us look at the synonyms of the liar. Synonyms of the liar is number 1, a cheat. Number 2, a con artist. 3, a deceiver, fabricator, fabulists. You know, when we were young, they would say fabu. It is actually an English word called fabulist, a misleader, a trickster, and a perjurer. That is when you commit perjury. That is to lie, to give a false statement. Now, the first thing about lies is that they are intentional. You cannot mistakenly lie. A lie is intentional, and the purpose is to cause you to believe something that is not true. Know very well that the person saying the lie knows that it is not true. Well, there are 2 kinds of liars that I would like us to consider this morning. There is the pathological liar, that is a person who lies constantly for no reason or any reason at all. He just lies. Not that he's under pressure to lie, not that he is in trouble that he needs to lie. He just lies for no reason. Then there is the manipulative liar. These set of people lie to get what they want. They do so with little awareness or guilt. They want something. Let me give you an example. There's someone I know. I've known him for over 30 years. The moment he sees you, or let me say, the moment he sees me, there is something that has just happened. It's like, my mother is sick, and we're just trying to raise some money for, something must happen now. So, I was just involved in an accident, and he's much older than me. In fact, he was an actor, and he something just must happen. I've known him since I was in the secondary school. So about 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, I was at the market, and then he drove past on an Okada. This is someone I saw last about 15 years ago. And as I saw him, I said, how you day? He jumped down from the bike, and immediately he started another story. That, you know what, that is not funny. He traveled to the village, and by the time he came back, he forgot all his credentials in the village. Now he's calling people to help him go to the house, get those credentials, and send down to Lagos State. That he didn't know that to parcel things down from the village to Lagos was this. I just looked at him. I said, you are a walking misadventure. Everything about you. Is there any good news? Something must just happen to you. Can't we just see, and then you are okay? How am I doing? How are you doing? How are the children? Something must just happen. Those kind of people are called the manipulative liar, because all they just want is for you to give them something, or they need something that you can provide. So they create a story around it so that they can get it from you. That is called a manipulative liar. Two kinds of lies. The pathological, that is the person that lies constantly for no reason. They just lie. What do you do? Oh, I'm into oil and gas. I'm into this. Oh, we're just doing this project or this. Oh, I have some money coming. They just lie. Now, the funny thing about pathological liars is that sociologists and psychologists believe that pathological lying is a symptom of various personality disorders, including antisocial personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and some conditions like borderline personality disorder. So when you meet a pathological liar, you are dating someone who you cannot trust anything they say. The moment you discover, it is not your duty to try to make them honest. It is a disorder. It is something that it is not that they were born with it, but they have adopted it as a means of income, a means of livelihood. You need to leave them alone. Some people create stories around themselves to get into relationships. Some will say, well, I was in a relationship, but I was heartbroken, so now I don't want to spend money on anyone. The issue is that they don't have money. But they create a story around it. They create a story about themselves, how this one jilted. They create a story, how they have so much the money that people is because of the money that people are in a relationship. They just create stories around themselves to get into a relationship. Some even lie about themselves, their educational background or family background to become relevant. Some just lie for no reason. It is always important to find out about a person you are dating. Check out their stories, especially those that tell you they don't have friends. A lot of them just don't want you to meet people who know them, so their lies will not be revealed. The intention of lies is to deceive. It means to get what I want from you by making you believe what is not true, especially for personal gain. Now, there is something very funny. The people with the highest probability of being deceived in relationships are, number one, Christians. Number two, those in long-distance relationships. And number three, the simple. Yes, I just bust another bubble.
Do you mind taking that again, please?
The people with the highest probability of being deceived in relationships are, number one, Christians. Number two, those in long-distance relationships. And number three, the simple.
Just broke the table right now.
Now, Christians are very vulnerable to deceit because they have been taught to believe the best of people. And especially when religion is used as an underlining factor. Oh, I'm dating him. He's an usher in my church. Why would he lie? He's a pastor's son. Why would he, I know him now. He's from my church. Religion kind of lets you put down your guard. you tend to trust. But the truth is, you don't know that armed robbers go to church, armed robbers go to mosques, kidnappers, ritualists, witches. Everybody goes to the church and to the mosque. So the issue is that you need to check. When you look at the Bible, 1 John 4:1, it says in the New Living Translation, "Dear friends, do not believe everyone who claims to speak by the Spirit. You must test them to see if the Spirit comes from God." You must check. You must check. I'm very happy because, first of all, I need to just divert a little. This is not a Christian program. This is a secular program. We are talking about religion and, we're talking about relationships and marriages. The reason I quote a lot of scriptures, that is Bible verses, is because I told you that 87% of failed marriages, that is separations, divorces, domestic violence and abuse, are from Christian marriages. So a lot of times I talk directly to Christians, so they listen. I'm very, very happy that finally I've been trying for a while, to get issues from a Muslim perspective. But a lot of people, just like in some Christian folk, were too radical. I need an educated point of view. And at times when you talk to some religious leaders, both in the Christian faith and in the Muslim faith, their views are too aggressive for. And thank God that today I was able to talk to someone who really I can consult, so that now when I tell you from the Bible, I would also tell you from the Quran. I was really happy about that. It has increased my knowledge a bit. So people will not say this is we are talking to Christians. I would be talking both from the Bible and from the Quran now. So whenever I try to go religious, let me go back into my topic for today, which is the liars. Now, Christians are very vulnerable to deceit, because when religion is involved, they just drop their guards. Someone comes to see you and says, "I prayed and God told me you are my husband," or somebody who you regard as a spiritual leader says, "God told me that this is your man, this is your husband, don't worry, just marry him." And then, someone told me that, right from the relationship days, that he noticed he used to lie. He was always lying about money, and he has this money here, he has this money there. So, one time she found out, and she told the pastor that it wasn't a pastor, it was an elder in the church, and that he lied and said, "Well, you would pray for him, and you would do this, and you would do that, he would change. What he needs is mentorship." And, they padded it up for her to just continue in the relationship and until they got married. Even the very house he stays in was not true. It belonged to an uncle of his that traveled abroad, so he just stays to take care of the house. So the day the uncle came back, which was less than a year after they got married, she found herself, the man packing and moving them to the BQ of the house that he said was his. So you marry somebody that you cannot believe what he's saying. At times, religion is a terrible factor in that. Now, those in long-distance relationships are also vulnerable to lies. Why? Because long-distance relationships refer to people that are geographically apart. Now, the problem now is that the components of a relationship is communication and FaceTime. That is physical intimacy. You see each other and you are able to, but when physical intimacy is taken and all you have is communication, when your relationship is powered by network, that is, it is phone calls, video calls, without network, no relationship. The problem becomes you don't know anything unless what he tells you.
Yes.
So whatever they tell you, if you like, you cannot verify. Now, long distance relationships does not necessarily mean you are geographically apart. You could be in the same local government and in a long distance relationship. Why? Because you don't see.
Yes.
And when you don't see, it is difficult for you to verify stories. Now, the third people who have a very high probability of being deceived are the simple. Now, according to history, the wisest man that ever lived, King Solomon, classified three people into three categories. The wise. Now, the wise is not that they are full of wisdom, but they are always willing to learn. They look after understanding. And one thing peculiar to the wise is that they fear a supernatural being. They have a conscience. The second is the foolish. The foolish, not that they have no education or wisdom, but they are not willing to learn or change anything new. They believe that what they know is enough for their lifetime, and they have no regard for any ultimate thing and do not follow after conscience. Now, the third category is the simple. There are three categories that Solomon classified people: the wise, the foolish, and the simple. Now, the simple are in between the wise and the foolish. They are those that cannot decide for themselves. People have to make decisions for them. They have to ask this one before they can make a decision. They are not willing to learn. They are empty and always have their decisions made by somebody. That is why I tell people, when you are in a relationship with someone who has to call a father or a mother to decide, or has to call an uncle to decide, you are in a relationship all by yourself. Now, the simple are those that believe, I'm good, I don't want evil for anybody, so no evil can come to me because I don't want evil to, they just think because they are very simple, then life should pay them back in kind. Those are the simple people. These three sets of people have the highest probability of being deceived. I would, there was a lady that came to me. She married an engineer, and 5 years into the marriage, she found out that he wasn't an engineer, that in fact he did not attend the university, but finished in secondary school. Now, why he was called an engineer was because he started a shop and started selling building materials. And people, when they come, they just say, where's the engineer? And, that was where that nickname stuck. Now, she is a master's degree holder who married an engineer, or so she thought, only to find out after 5 years that he wasn't really educated to the extent of being an engineer. I said, how did that happen? Because of his guarantors. Everybody, when they met, an engineer with a degree, she was lied to. One of the first things in relationships should be, what school did you go to? Do you understand? I went to the University of Ibadan, and you check, you make sure that the person is. In fact, how do I put it? You need to always verify stories that you are told when you are in relationships. Lots of people who married and in marriage found out that it is not what they were told that they found. Okay, we are going to go for a commercial break.